Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy, and I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv. We are in the book of 1 Samuel, and we are in chapter 5. We've just had the death of two of Eli's sons, Eli himself, and then the birth of a brand new son of Eli called Ichabod. Because, Jewish, well, they're not Jewish people at this point. The Israeli people can't really be without somebody to sacrifice. Can't really be without Levites. Or descendants of Aaron. Most definitely. Okay. The Ark of Ashdod and Ekron. After the Philistines had captured the Ark of God, they took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. They carried the ark into Dagon's temple and set it beside Dagon. When the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, there was Dagon, fallen on his face on the ground before the ark. Because remember, their gods are statues. Okay? They took Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning when they arose, there was Dagon, fallen flat on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. His head and hands had been broken off and were lying on the threshold. Only his body remained. Okay, this is why to this day, neither the priests of Dagon nor the others who entered Dagon's temple at Ashdod step on the threshold. Okay. The Lord's hand was heavy upon the people of Ashdod and its vicinity. He brought devastation upon them and afflicted them with tumors. The Hebrew Septuagint Vulgate, tumors and rats appeared in their land, and death and destruction throughout the city. This would indicate that maybe there was something radioactive going on with the Ark of the Covenant to create tumors. So interesting. It's emitting an energy. Isn't that fun? When the men of Ashdod, I wonder how come the Israeli people don't have these problems. When the men of Ashdod saw what was happening, I'm totally being facetious, it's completely God, they said, the Ark of God of Israel must not stay here with us. Yeah, it's not yours. It's not nice to steal. Swipe or no swiping. Like, come on, we teach this to children. The Ark of God of Israel must not stay here with us because his hand is heavy upon us and upon Dagon, our God. You mean the statue? He doesn't like statues that you try to call God. He's going to, if you bring that, anything that's holy, anywhere near anything that is unholy, the things that are unholy are going to have a real hard time. That's why all the demons were, in the New Testament, we're throwing them at the feet like the demon possessed. Please don't hurt us, Jesus, because they can't even handle the, the holiness that was radiating off of them. So their statue isn't faring well. So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and asked them, what shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? And they answered, have the ark of the God of Israel moved to Gath. So they moved the ark of the God of Israel. But after they moved it, the Lord's hand was against that city, throwing it into great panic. He afflicted the people of the city, both young and old, with an outbreak of tumors. Or with tumors, specifically on the groin, according to the Septuagint. So that's, again, delightful. So they sent the Ark of God to Ekron. I'd be getting rid of it too if I were any of these leaders. As the Ark of God was entering Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out, they have brought the Ark of the God of Israel around us to kill us and our people. So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, send the ark of the God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place, or it be, or he, God, that's what they're talking about, will kill us and our people. For death had filled the city with panic. God's hand was heavy upon it. Those who did not die were afflicted with tumors, and the outcry of the city went up to heaven. God said, swipe or no swiping, put it back where it was. I didn't say you could take wasn't yours. I think they were under the mistaken impression that the Ark of the Covenant actually belonged to the Israeli people instead of belonging to God himself. Everything belongs to God, first and foremost. So, maybe one day, they'll, these people don't exist anymore. But maybe one day humanity as a whole will get better about figuring that out. Until the next video, friends. Well, hello, friends. Welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv, and we are in the book of 1 Samuel, and we are in chapter 6. So, the ark returned to Israel. When the ark of the Lord had been in the Philistine territory 7 months, I'm surprised they lasted that. Maybe that's because it was on the move so much, because it wasn't easy to get things around then. The Philistines called for the priests and the diviners and said, "What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us how we should send it back to its place." They answered, "If you return the ark of the God of Israel, do not send it away empty, but by all means send a guilt offering to him. Then you will be healed, and you will know why his hand has not been lifted from you." So, you can't just return what you took. You gotta appease this God, our God. So I would agree. You always have to appease our God. But they're just flat out being, you thought you were the victors. Did you think you conquered their God? There's no such thing. Now you got to do penance to him, because don't we all just have to? See, you don't even have to be worshiping the living God, and you still have to do penance if you do wrong by him. Isn't that? That's because he's the only God in existence. That's why. So the Philistines asked, what guilt offering should we send to him? They replied, 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats, according to the number of Philistine rulers. So, sorry, I had to take a moment there to take off my my sweatshirt jacket. They replied, 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats, according to the number of Philistine rulers, because the same plague has struck both of you and your rulers. So really, isn't that kind of like God being like, 1, I beat you. You have to owe me you owe me a guilt offering, because you owe me something. So you owe me money, and I'm also letting you know what I think of you. Because isn't that just what he's saying? Tumors and rats. Okay. Make models of the tumors and of the rats that are destroying the country, and pay honor to Israel's God. Perhaps he will lift his hand from you and your gods and your land. Why do you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and the Pharaoh did? When he treated them harshly, that is God, treated them harshly, did they not send the Israelites out so they could go on their way? Like, why are you not learning from the people around you? You already know when he's decided something, what he's decided. Okay. Now, then, get a new cart ready with 2 cows that have calved and have never been yoked. Hitch the cows to the cart, but take their calves away and pen them up. Take the ark of the Lord, put it on the cart, and in the chest beside it, And in the chest beside it, put the golden objects you are sending back to him as a guilt offering. Are they telling them to open up the Ark of the Covenant? To put these gold objects inside? I guess I don't think it's a good idea for them to open up the Ark of the Covenant, but that's how that's just said. Take the Ark of the Lord and put it on the cart, and in a chest beside it. Okay, in a chest beside it. Okay, that's better. Put the gold objects you are sending back to him as a guilt offering. No, I just had to reread. Send it on its way, but keep watching it. If it goes up to its own territory toward Beth Shemesh, then the Lord has brought this great disaster on us. But if it does not, then we will know that it is not his hand that struck us, and that it happened to us by chance. So okay, so we got it. They've got a divining method, if you will. So they did this. They took 2 such cows and hitched them to the cart and penned up their calves. They placed the Ark of the Lord on the cart, along with the chest containing the gold rats and the models of the tumors. Then the cows went straight up towards Beth Shemesh, keeping on the road, and I think there's missing letters here, and lowing all the way. Oh, I see. Low. It must be like a word for how the cow mooing and stuff. They did not turn to the right or to the left. The rulers of the Philistines followed them as far as the border of Beth Shemesh. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were harvesting their wheat in the valley when they looked up and saw the ark. They rejoiced at the sight. The cart came to the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh, where it stopped beside a large rock. The people chopped up the wood of the cart and sacrificed the cows as a burnt offering to the Lord. Like, just immediately, right then. The Levites took down the ark of the Lord together with the chest containing the gold objects and placed them on a large rock. On that day, the people of Beth Shemesh offered burnt offerings and made sacrifices to the Lord. The 5 rulers of the Philistines saw all this, and they returned that same day to Ekron. These are the gold tumors of the Philistines. These are the gold tumors the Philistines sent as a guilt offering to the Lord, each one for Ashdod, Gaza, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. And the number of gold rats was according to the number of towns belonging to the 5 rulers, the fortified towns with their country villages. The large rock on which, and then it's got a footnote of D. Here's the footnote of D. One of these is just really long. A few Hebrew manuscripts. See also the Septuagint and also other Hebrew manuscripts, villages as far as Great Abel, where they set the Ark of the Lord, is a witness to this day in the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh. So they set up a rock in remembrance of this. But God struck down some of the men of Beth Shemesh, putting 70... a few Hebrew manuscripts and the Septuagint, 50,070 of them to death because they looked into the ark of the Lord. Okay, so maybe people did look in there. The people mourned because of the heavy blow the Lord had dealt them. And the men of Beth Shemesh asked, "Who can stand in the presence of the Lord, this holy God? To whom will the ark go up from here?" They sent messengers to the people of Kiriath Jearim, saying, "The Philistines have returned the ark of the Lord. Come down and take it up to your place." And actually, that's really the end of 6, and we're now into the chapter, at the beginning of chapter 7. So, if you want to find out what happens to the Ark of the Lord next, you're going to have to come back and watch the next video, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Nev. We are in 1 Samuel, and we are in chapter 7. And what has just occurred? So, the men of Kiriath-Jearim came and took up the Ark of the Lord. They took it to Aminadab's house on the hill and consecrated Eleazar's son, his son, to guard the Ark of the Lord. So the Jewish people took it back in, but there were a bunch of people who had just, in that previous part of chapter 7, because that's actually technically part of the Ark returned to Israel, they looked inside the box. You're not supposed to look inside the box, so much people died. You have to be a son of Aaron to even look at it, according to the Old Testament. So, or their known belief systems. I don't know what they were thinking. Samuel subdues the Philistines at Mizpah, because, the Torah is where it comes from, Old Testament. It was a long time, 20 years in all, that the ark remained at Kiriath-Jearim. And all the people of Israel mourned and sought after the Lord. And Samuel said to the whole house of Israel, "If you are returning to the Lord with all your hearts, then rid yourself of those foreign gods and the Ashtaroths, and commit yourselves to the Lord and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hands of the Philistines." So the Israelites put away their Baals and Ashtaroths and served the Lord only. Then Samuel said, "Assemble all Israel at Mizpah, and I will intercede with the Lord for you." When they had assembled at Mizpah, they drew water and poured it out before the Lord. On that day they fasted, and there they confessed, "We have sinned against the Lord." And Samuel was leader, or traditionally judge, of Israel at Mizpah. When the Philistines heard that Israel had assembled at Mizpah, the rulers of the Philistines came up to attack them. And when the Israelites heard of it, they were afraid because of the Philistines. They said to Samuel, "Do not stop crying out to the Lord our God for us, that he may rescue us from the hands of the Philistines." Then Samuel took a suckling lamb and offered it up as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. He cried out to the Lord on Israel's behalf, and the Lord answered him. While Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to engage Israel in battle. But that day the Lord thundered with loud thunder against the Philistines and threw them into such a panic that they were routed before the Israelites. The men of Israel rushed out of Mizpah and pursued the Israelites, slaughtering them along the way to the point of Beth-kar. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shen. He named it Ebenezer. Ebenezer means stone of help, saying, "Thus far has the Lord helped us." So the Philistines were subdued and did not invade Israelite territory again. Throughout Samuel's lifetime, the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines. The towns from Ekron to Gath that the Philistines had captured from Israel were restored to her, and Israel delivered the neighboring territory from the power of the Philistines, and there was peace between Israel and the Ammonites. I'm sorry, the Amorites, not the Ammonites, the Amorites. Samuel continued as judge over Israel for all the days of his life. From each year to year, he went on a circuit from Bethel to Gilgal to Mitzvah, judging Israel in all those places. But he always went back to Ramah, where his home was, and there he also judged Israel, and he built an altar there to the Lord. Now, when they say built like that, they mean like of stone, because before the asking of the construction of the Ark of the Covenant, traditionally God is wanted uncut, stone uncut by the hand of man. So just stack stone piles so that you can, basically construct a table, if you will, to do the offering that you will then use also as a place to burn the offering on, like a one-stop table, if you will. So, until the next video, friends. Hello, friends. So, Bible study, the Niv, John chapter 5, verses 31 through 47. This one is called the Testimonies about Jesus. The backstory here is he's just gotten finished talking to them. The apostles are baptizing, but he's not. He's healed the man at the magic fountain. The mikvah bath. It's a mikvah bath. And he's talking about, he had just finished talking about getting into the afterlife. All right, so if I testify about myself, my testimony is not valid. Yes, we call that bragging. There is another who testifies in my favor, and I know that his testimony about me is valid. You have sent to John, and he has testified to the truth. It's John the Baptist. Not that I accept human testimony. Okay, an equivocation there. But I mention it that you may be saved. Okay. John was a lamp that burned and gave light. And you chose for a time to enjoy his light. Okay. I have a testimony weightier than that of John. For the very work that the Father has given me to finish, in which I am doing, testifies that the Father has sent me. And the Father who sent me has himself testified concerning me. You have never heard his voice, nor seen his form, nor does his word dwell in you. For you do not believe the one he sent. You diligently study the scriptures, because you think that by them you possess eternal life. Here they're talking about the Mosaic laws, or for us, the Old Testament. These are the scriptures that testify about me. Yet you refuse to come to me to have life. I do not accept praise from men, but I know you, and I know that you do not have the love of God in your hearts. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not accept me. But if someone else comes in his own name, you will accept them. How can you believe if you accept praise from another, yet make no effort to obtain praise that comes from the only God? But do not think I will accuse you before the Father. Your accuser is Moses, on whom your hopes are set, because it's his laws that they're repeating. If you believe Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me. But since you do not believe what he wrote, how are you going to believe what I say? Meaning here that they're following the letter of the Mosaic law. The letter, but not the intent of the Mosaic Law. Remember, the Mosaic Laws were written because human beings were acting so raggedy, so ratchet, raggedy human beings that and the whole world was like this. It is, I don't know who's suffering from the delusion that it was ever better in the past, but our souls were less human. We treated each other so much more poorly than we do now. Like, that's part of why, you've got certain segments of previous generations, and I'm a Generation X, that do not come for me because we do not like it. We can come and have a nice, honest discussion, but don't be calling any name throwing back and forth between you and me. I don't want to hear it, okay? I'm not a millennial, I'm not a Generation Z, and I'm not a boomer. All right? We're kind of feral, Generation X, so just don't, okay? We're the first of the latchkey kids. We know what kind of trouble we got into. And that's why, I don't have any children, but some people I know who, in my generation who did, became helicopter parents because they knew what trouble we were getting into when we were little. That's why. We were a little bit feral. So, you can, the intention of the law matters. The intention. It was not better in history. You needed people. You're always going to have people within a society that want to know exactly what the law is so they can try to push it as far as they can. And he doesn't like the fact that they even want to push. So it's there as a hard boundary. And if you actually examine things that are in there, he makes certain rules particularly clear, even though there's things in there like you're not supposed to own slaves. That's how we feel. You're not supposed to own slaves. Slaves are allowed there. Yeah, but he forced them to free them after 50 years. And if they were Jewish, that bond was only for 7. It was never meant to be for lifetimes. And it wasn't supposed to be about abusing other people. You're not supposed to want to abuse other people. It's supposed to be the intention, not just the letter. And the intention is supposed to be act like a decent human being, please. A decent human being wouldn't own people. Right? So it's full of flaws, right? Because humanity was so much more flawed that they needed to be told the basic things. And he wasn't going to get them to accept the non-basic, what we would consider the basic things by our society standards today. He wasn't going to get them to understand and accept that. Their brains weren't going to be, they just wouldn't have followed him. And they would have remained in their terrible way. Anybody who's ever been part of any group that needs to persuade somebody else to give them that shot, to, invest in that product, that knows it's all about the pitch of your audience. And I would know this particularly well. I do indeed have an MBA with an emphasis in marketing. So we covered this quite extensively. Plus a certified hypnotherapist and an Arcturian energy healing on top of the ordained ministry while I do my mechanical engineering job. Okay, so it's all about the pitch. And then there's another portion that's in here where he's basically just saying, if you're paying attention to the actions I'm taking, and you're paying attention to what is actually written in the past about the Messiah who's supposed to come, you would recognize that I am who I say I am, not because I have to say anything to you, but because you're listening to other people tell you about the works that I'm doing, and my work stands for itself, which is pretty much how I've always gone through my career. And I usually don't spend much time worrying about what one person or another might say about me, even if that doesn't seem particularly political in nature. And there is absolutely the hearts and minds of others you have to worry about if you're going to focus with any kind of things of any of those things. I said I do for a living. But the work really can stand for itself. You don't have to worry about what anybody else is saying about you if you know that you are where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Because they can run their mouth, and you just keep doing the work. And in the end, when all they had is their mouth that they ran,
and you have the effort that you've put in, you're going to have something good. And they're going to have their mouth, which is probably not something very good if they think they have the right to run around and gossip about other people. I would suggest that they go take a look, because if their house isn't immaculate, they don't have, I don't know, a bunch of extra credentials, and all they're doing with their time is talking about other people, then they need to reevaluate their priorities. And maybe keep that in mind in case somebody is treating you that way today. Hopefully nobody is. But your work can indeed stand for itself. And pay attention. Pay attention that the words and actions of others around you are in alignment. That people are who they say they are, because if they're just talk, you won't actually see any output at all. Keep your chin up. Do what you're supposed to do. But pay attention to who's around you. Because you don't know if you're in the wrong room, if you're not looking at the people around you and making sure that their words and actions are in alignment. I cannot express enough how important that is enough. Words and actions must be in alignment for somebody to be who they say they are. Time to go.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv, we are in the book of Psalms, and we are in this book 4 of Psalms, and we are in Psalm 105. It's a long psalm, so we're not trying to do all of it in this one video. In this video, we're doing verses 1 through 15. So, this will be broken up into 3 separate videos if you want to hear the whole song. Give thanks to the Lord. Call on his name. Make known among the nations what he has done. Sing to him. Sing praise to him. Tell of all his wonderful acts. Glory in his name. Let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Look to the Lord and his strength. Seek his face always. Remember the wonders he has done, his miracles, and the judgments he has pronounced. O descendants of Abraham, his servants, O sons of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He remembers his covenant forever, the word he commanded for 1,000 generations, the covenant he made with Abraham, the oath he swore to Isaac. He confirmed it to Jacob as a decree, to Israel an everlasting covenant. To you I will give the land of Canaan as the portion you will inherit. When they were but few in number, few indeed, and strangers in it, they wandered from nation to nation, from one kingdom to another. He allowed no one to oppress them. For their sake he rebuked kings. Do not touch my anointed ones. Do my prophets no harm. It's too bad the Pharisees didn't remember that do my prophets no harm. Till the next video, friends.